6 to 8 million years ago, this land looks nothing like our world, yet it is already ruled by giants.
Forests and broad plains stretch for hundreds of kilometers across what will one day become Western North America.
Under the trees, smaller dinosaurs, mammals, and insects fill every niche in this ancient ecosystem.
But today, something larger is moving through the forest, and every creature can feel it coming.
This is Tyrannosaurus rex, the apex predator of its time, and we will follow one individual we call Tyrano, who is over 12 meters long and weighs as much as an elephant herd, yet he moves with careful, measuring steps. This landscape is his hunting ground, patrolled day after day in search of weakness and opportunity.
Despite his size, Tyrano cannot afford to waste energy. Every step must ultimately lead to food. Inside that skull is not just a powerful bite, but also some of the most sensitive senses of smell of any known dinosaur.
Keen vision and an enormous brain case help him track movement across long distances.
Tyrano follows paths he has used for years, routes that connect water, shelter, and the best places to find prey. Scars along his jaw tell the story of past battles, perhaps with rivals or with horned prey that did not go down easily.
Here, a herd has recently passed, their three-toed footprints still sharp and damp with morning dew.
Compared to his own prints, they are tiny, yet together they represent many tons of moving food. The tracks lead toward water, and like predators today, Tyrano knows that rivers draw life together.
Every step is heavy, but efficient. His stride covers ground quickly without breaking into a full charge.
He uses the forest as cover, staying half hidden while he approaches the river plain.
Ahead lies a broad valley, where prey will come to drink and graze.
From a distance, even a giant predator becomes just one more piece of a vast, living landscape.
At the water's edge, a herd of duck-billed dinosaurs has gathered to feed and drink.
They are alert, but calm, relying on many pairs of eyes and ears to detect danger.
Far away, a familiar silhouette steps into view, still too distant to trigger panic.
Tyrano pauses, tests the air, and confirms what his eyes already tell him. Food is close. For such a heavy animal, stealth is difficult, but he does what he can, shortening his stride and hugging low ground.
Using scattered trees as cover, Tyrano works along the edge of the valley, trying to stay out of clear view.
But prey animals are never completely blind. One adult senses something is wrong, and the mood shifts. Sound, scent, and subtle vibrations in the ground all whisper the same message. A hunter is near.
The element of surprise is fading, and Tyrano must now rely on speed and strength.
In an instant, the quiet riverbank explodes into panic as the entire herd bolts for safety.
For a few seconds, Tyrano's massive body becomes a deadly machine built for forward momentum.
He targets the slowest animals, often juveniles or injured adults, straggling at the back.
But crossing slippery ground at full speed is risky, and even a king must respect the power of water.
A bad fall here could mean broken bones, and a crippled predator does not live long.
The herd escapes this time, proving that even Tyrannosaurus does not win every hunt. Panting at the shoreline, Tyrano has burned precious energy with nothing to show for it. For a predator of his size, even one failed chase can shape the decisions he makes for the rest of the day.
He's an armory to eat repairs. He will need find an easier soon.
T-Rex is not a mindless monster. He constantly weighs risk against reward, just like modern predators.
For now, he settles for water, buying time while his senses continue to search for the next opportunity. Elsewhere on the plain, death has already visited, leaving behind a different kind of opportunity.
Scavengers arrive first, cleaning flesh from the bones of a fallen ceratopsian.
But when Tyrano appears, the scavengers know the rules. They must make way for the king.
With a single step, he claims ownership of the feast.
To a T-Rex, the smell of decay is not disgusting. It is the scent of easy calories.
His bite force is among the strongest of any land animal known, easily crushing bone to reach the rich marrow inside.
As he eats, he still watches the horizon, wary of rivals that might try to challenge his claim.
Smaller predators will eventually return, but only to pick around the edges of what he leaves behind.
In this moment, one animal temporarily controls an entire patch of the ecosystem. T-Rex may both hunt and scavenge, taking advantage of whatever the Cretaceous world provides. After a heavy meal, Tyrano's most urgent need is no longer food, but rest.
He heads toward shade, where he can digest in relative safety and coolness.
For such a massive body, lying down and standing up are serious efforts that must be done carefully. Now his digestive system goes to work, converting meat and bone into the energy he will need for future hunts. Even while resting, he remains dangerous, but for the moment, the king sleeps.
Hours pass, and the Cretaceous day begins to change, as weather systems roll across the continent. Now, a powerful storm front approaches, bringing challenges even for a giant predator. Tyrano senses the change long before the worst of the storm arrives.
He heads for slightly higher ground, seeking a position where sudden floods will not trap him. Even at his size, he is small beneath the vast forces of climate that shape this world. As the storm intensifies, footing becomes treacherous for any heavy animal.
Each misstep could lead to injury, a far greater threat than any single prey animal.
Herbivores also relocate, seeking safety from floods and falling trees. But Tyrannosaurus is built to endure. Thick skin and strong muscles help him weather storms that might kill smaller creatures.
At the river, the greatest danger is no longer predators, but the water itself.
Tyrano has crossed here many times, but today the river is transformed into a raging barrier.
Lightning and thunder crash overhead, but he shows no signs of panic, only caution. Rather than forcing a crossing now, he moves along the margin, searching for a safer route.
Like modern crocodiles or big cats, he must adapt his movements to the mood of the weather.
Hours later, the storm moves on, leaving the forest soaked, quiet, and glistening. Tyrano emerges from shelter, checking his surroundings after the chaos.
Even a giant cannot stay completely dry, but his massive body shrugs off the chill quickly. Other dinosaurs emerge as well, resuming the endless cycle of feeding, fleeing, and fighting.
New scents tell him which herds have passed through while he sheltered from the storm.
His nose is so sensitive that he can likely detect blood, decay, and fear from kilometers away.
He follows familiar paths that connect forest cover with open hunting grounds. Everything about his body, from tail to toe, serves balance and control of enormous forces. Life resumes on the floodplain, as if the storm had never happened, but every animal has learned something from it. Once again, he surveys his domain, ruler of a kingdom that only exists for a brief moment in Earth's long history.
As evening approaches, the world of Tyrano is transformed by softer light and cooler air.
At more than 6 tons, each step leaves grooves that may one day fossilize, preserving his passage.
Footprints like these are among the most vivid traces of dinosaur behavior that paleontologists will later study.
They record not just where he was, but also the direction and pace of his journey.
The skull of T-Rex is a fortress of bone.
Yet he does not roar and thrash constantly as in the movies. Most of his time is spent simply moving and watching.
As he travels, smaller animals employ different strategies. Some flee, others freeze and hope to be ignored.
In silhouette, his outline has become an icon, recognizable around the world millions of years later.
For us, Tyrannosaurus rex stands as the very symbol of prehistoric power.
But for Tyrano, there is no legend, only another day ending on a dangerous planet.
When night falls, he seeks a hollow with good visibility but some protection from wind and surprise. Even asleep, he does not completely switch off. His senses remain tuned to sudden changes in sound or scent.
Other creatures take advantage of the darkness, stealing past the resting giant to reach water or fresh plants.
The same river that threatened him in the storm now flows quietly, carving the sediments that will preserve his world.
When dinosaurs die and are quickly covered by mud or sand, their bones sometimes escape decay long enough to fossilize.
Layer by layer, floods and storms seal these remains into the rock record.
To Earth, even a mighty T-Rex is only a brief chapter in a much longer story. Deep within these sediments, clues to his existence will sleep for tens of millions of years.
Meanwhile, Tyrano continues as he always has, hunting, feeding, and surviving, with no idea of his future fame.
Each day he lives improves his chances of breeding, passing on genes that shape the next generation.
T-Rex likely occupied territories that overlapped with many other large dinosaurs, including armored and horned species.
Most encounters do not end in dramatic battles. Often, potential prey simply keeps its distance.
With a full stomach, he can afford to ignore even substantial meals. Contrary to popular images of constant roaring, much of his life is probably spent in quiet movement and observation.
His hearing is also well developed, attuned to the deep calls of other dinosaurs across the plain.
Some researchers even suggest that T-Rex may have hunted in forests as well as open areas, navigating complex terrain.
His balance and coordination had to be superb to avoid falls that could shatter limbs.
Across his territory, numerous well-used trails crisscross the land, carved by generations of dinosaurs. When predators and scavengers are finished with a body, the skeleton remains as a stark reminder of past struggles. Given the right circumstances, some of these skeletons will harden into stone, becoming fossils we study today.
The late Cretaceous is the final act for non-bird dinosaurs, and T-Rex is one of its most impressive performers.
Already, small feathered dinosaurs, very similar to birds, are sharing his world.
In time, only their descendants will remain, while giants like Tyrano vanish from the surface.
Yet for now, he is perfectly adapted to his role, a product of over 100 million years of dinosaur evolution.
Long after dinosaur extinction, this land will continue to change, reshaped by ice, oceans, and shifting continents.
But in his own moment in time, he walks a planet that is warm, lush, and dominated by his kind. Signs like claw marks, shed teeth, and footprints are everyday traces that rarely survive the ages. Yet occasionally, even a lost tooth can become a fossil, later identified as belonging to a Tyrannosaurus.
Tyrano's life is filled with danger, but also long stretches of routine that never make it into blockbuster movies.
To understand him, we must picture not just the attacks, but the quieter days that truly define his existence. Night after night, he returns to familiar resting places, following patterns that worked in the past. This predictability lets him conserve energy, a crucial advantage for any massive carnivore. Above him, tiny fragments of rock burn through the atmosphere every night, hinting at the asteroid that will one day change everything. From space, this is still the age of dinosaurs, with no civilization, no cities, and no humans to witness it. Down here, the only observers are other animals, and, much later, the fossils they leave behind. Driven by the same basic needs that guide all living things: food, water, shelter, and reproduction.
He may even mark parts of his territory, signaling to other large predators that this region is already claimed.
Occasionally, rivals appear at the borders of his range, but direct clashes are risky for both sides. The river that once roared with stormwater is quiet again, but its banks still bear scars from the flood.
He has fed recently, so today he watches rather than chases, learning the patterns of the herd.
Day after day, these routines build a mental map of every slope, river bend, and hiding place. His life depends not just on strength, but on memory and information stored in that powerful brain.
He is not alone. The late Cretaceous is a crowded stage, with many different actors.
Yet few of them will capture human imagination the way Tyrannosaurus rex does.
Millions of years later, only his bones will remain, waiting underground for us to find and reconstruct.
But to truly understand him, we must picture him alive, in motion, part of a living ecosystem.
In this world, he shares the stage with horned titans and armored tanks, each with their own story. Next, we will explore the life of one of his most famous neighbors, the three-horned Triceratops.
For now, though, we leave Tyrano at the height of his power, ruler of his Cretaceous domain.
Is the age of the Tyrant King, the legendary Tyrannosaurus rex.
Tonight, he survives again, and survival is the only victory nature recognizes. Tomorrow he will wake, hunt and roam once more, unaware of the distant future that will study his bones. Another day dawns on the dinosaur planet, full of familiar routines and hidden dramas.
Out there, the Tyrant King continues his endless patrol, writing a story in footprints and scars.
In the end, even he is small compared to the scale of Earth's history.
Yet his brief reign will echo through time, in rocks, museums, and our imaginations.
From hunter to scavenger, from storm survivor to sleeping giant, Tyrano's life contains many roles.
All of them are written in bone, waiting patiently beneath our feet.
By piecing together these clues, we resurrect not monsters, but animals that once truly walked this earth.
This was the story of Tyrannosaurus rex. Next, we step into the world of the three-horned titan, Triceratops.